This is my most favorite part to lead. I think it's just one of those areas where you might hear from us as staff of like, please participate. There's a lot of value, right? But getting to hear it firsthand from a person that has done the journey time and time again is really great to hear. So I'm excited to introduce Joe Harpel, who's over at Gardner Builders as a construction project manager, and he's been with us. This is his third year mentoring. So hi, Joe. Thanks for letting me drag you into this.
Good morning. Thank
Good
you. Appreciate
morning.
the introduction.
Absolutely. Well, if you want to take a moment to just introduce yourself and share what inspired you to become a mentor again this year.
Sure. Yeah, so I'm Joe Harpel. I did a stint working at the University of Minnesota while I was in school. I was one of those students that went back to get my undergrad very late in life. Did, a whole nother separate career outside of where I landed. But so the College of Continuing and Professional Studies was a great fit for me because a lot of the classes are in the evenings or at night, if most of you are probably aware. I did a stint with Opus Design Build, and now I'm over at Gardner Builders as a project manager. I'm in the higher ed realm, so I do a lot of work on campus. I would say probably 90% of my projects are on campus right now. Like Aslan said, this is my third year in the program, and I really have grown to love this program. I think for me, it was just that when I was in school, I really felt like wasn't even aware of this program and really felt that I was kind of having to figure things out on my own. And then just maybe the pressure of, while I was in school, I had a family, I was having kids, and really trying to navigate that professional realm and how do I interview and what should my resume look like and all this stuff. And there's just a lot of pressure and stress that comes with that at the time. And I feel like I got okay at it, and now it's a way for me to give back and to help and to see the next generation of really just construction professionals coming up in the industry, just help them navigate all of that. So that's kind of, what's driving me to continue to come back and help out where I can. I've had two, looking forward to a third awesome mentees have had a wonderful experience through the program. Um, yeah, so let's just maybe I'll cut it short there.
Yes, we have more questions for you.
Yes. Sorry.
Thank you. So thinking about your past mentees, how did y'all collaborate on goal setting for your mentoring experience?
Yeah, for me, I really tried to take kind of a more of a natural approach and really let them drive this. That might not work for every student, but fortunately, maybe for me, that every student that I have had the pleasure of working with has been very self-motivated and has really wanted to make the best of the experience. And I would think that's probably the case for most. Just in my conversations with other mentors in the program, it seems like, most are really in this program are there for a reason. They're looking to make connections. They didn't sign up to this for, any other reason than they want to grow and they want to learn and they want to make connections. So most are going to be pretty self-driven. I let them kind of drive it. If I wasn't hearing from them, then I would reach back out and kind of push them along. But what do you want to get out of this? But at the end of the year, what do you hope to have accomplished here? And if they really don't have any goals, then for me, it's like, okay, well, then the best thing we can do, let's get your resume up to date. What does your resume look like? Let's work through that. Let's talk through kind of maybe mock scenarios or mock interviews. What can you expect to be asked? What questions have I heard in the various interviews that I've been involved in, and and kind of walk them through that just to ease their minds. So those are maybe a couple good things. If just let them drive it, and if nothing else, you can always work on their resume with them. So.
Awesome. No, and I think you bring up a great point too, between this and your earlier response too, of some students really don't know what they don't know. So being able to offer that perspective of, okay, well, this is what I've seen in XYZ meeting, or this is what comes up when I'm working on a specific project, and just bringing that light to it, super beneficial and maybe shaping and molding those questions that they have in mind. Separate question for you. What have been the most meaningful or rewarding moments thinking about your mentoring experience?
I think at the end of the program, I always try to stay in contact with them, and just 6 months, 3 to 6 months or something, just reach out, see if I can go grab lunch with them and just see where they're at. Um, for me, it's like seeing them land somewhere, both of, and no like applause to myself. These guys are signing up for this program on their own will and are driving kind of their agenda, what they want to get out of it. I'm just here in the background just to provide direction, but both have walked away before they graduated with full-time positions and are off to a great start in the construction industry. Very reputable companies, competitors of ours, but that's all right too. So it's just that's the biggest piece for me is just seeing them land somewhere, all the time spent working on their resume and kind of mock questions and scenarios and stuff that we've worked through. It all paid off, and they all, interviewed well. I'm, making sure that they're dressed well, that they're, dressed appropriately for the interview that they're heading into. Just a lot of times, like I found that they really don't even know that. Like they would have gone in a set of jeans and a collared shirt, which might be okay for some interviews, but I think I'll at least try to hold whoever I work with to a higher standard and you get them really dressed for success. So all of those little things, but when you see them land somewhere and then you can maintain that relationship and they want to see you again in 6 months. And I just went and had a beer with my mentee from 2 years ago, and he's over at McGough Construction. And it's just a great experience to like catch up with them and see where they're at. And, just that's where I feel the most reward for me. It's like, all right, this was totally worth it. I'm so happy for this guy.
That's so great to hear. And I think you should give yourself a little bit more kudos in shaping those experiences too. Like, yes, they were probably more than adequate, but also thinking about how you molded their experience. I think
Sure.
there's a lot to say there. Looking back though, is there something you would have done differently or are planning to try something new for this upcoming year?
And, I think I thought a lot about this question, and not that I have all the answers, but I just tried to make it very natural and self-driven on the part of the mentee. What would I change? Like, geez, it really is going to depend on what their goals are. So I think that it could morph depend on the student. And each of the last two that I've had has been a little bit different. Some are, want to talk more interview questions and are nervous about that approach. Some really want to focus on their resume. Some just want to talk about the construction industry. I might try to get them, I lead a lot of construction site tours for Gardner Builders, so we work pretty closely with the construction management program. I actually just had one last night for the Construction Management and Facilities Association at the U of M. So we walked them through a project last night, and then last week I did one for Dunwoody College, and just trying to, get them on a project site, get them some exposure. So that might be something I do different, and that might be unique to your line, your industry, or your organization. Gardner is super supportive of all that stuff, and as long as everybody's safe and has all the proper PPE, they're happy to accommodate that. So I might just get them out onto a job site. Like I said, a lot of mine are on campus, so it's super convenient for everybody. And so just get them some more exposure to the industry that they're heading into. And then just maybe create more opportunities for them to shake hands with industry professionals, whether it be superintendents or trade partners or whatever. That exposure make helping them make those connections, I think would be nothing but valuable. So that may be something I add this year, but the rest I'm just gonna let it take shape naturally. So
That's great to hear. Last question for you. So we have a lot of first timers on this call today, which is great. But what advice would you give to someone stepping into their first year of mentoring, besides everything else that you already shared with us?
sure. I would say probably just it maybe if you're first stepping into it, it might I remember my first year and it was just kind of like, oh geez, I don't know what to expect. It it's totally up to you. What the approach that you're going to take, the amount of time you're going to spend with them. I always just at a minimum try to connect with them maybe twice a month and just see where they're at. Sometimes it's just a friendly email or a phone call just to say, hey, how are things going? How have classes going? You're just kind of checking in with them, checking in on their mental well-being. How are they managing their class schedules and stuff like that? And then, maybe, or one of those times, maybe you're just, hey, you want to go grab a burger, my treat. I'd love to catch up with you in person. So it's really not as big of a deal as maybe it sounds. Let them drive it. Let them, pronounce to you the goals that they really want to get out of this semester, and then just kind of write those down and kind of keep them on track. And if they want to update their resume, well, then in the next time we meet, you should have a rough draft ready for me to look at, and let's discuss it. Give me a week to look over it, and then I'll come back with you with questions. And you're just kind of helping to drive and to motivate, but just it doesn't have to be a this big intimidating thing. It can be very natural and pretty free flowing.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much, Joe, for sharing all of your insights. I hope, and I know that this was more than likely beyond helpful for our folks here on the call today.